Hello, kiddies. Today, we're going back in time. Back in time to when 8-track tapes ruled and the airwaves and radio stations could drop in iron butterflies and a Gata DeVita and go to lunch. If you know, you know. And American muscles were in its finest era in the drive-ins, hangouts, and all the way to the red lights of any given town. These 10 monsters, not cryptids though, some roared like the fabled monsters of old, but the 10 most iconic muscle cars of the muscle car era. My top 10, or my Mount Rushmore 2.5. Oh yeah, here we go. Mercury, started by Henry Ford's only son Edsel, was started to bridge the gap between Ford and Lincoln, offering affordable luxury and proven designs, and many over the years followed Ford's design step by step through the muscle car era. Number 10, 1970 Mercury Cyclone GT spoiler hit the streets. A true Mercury design car, having a Coke bottle front end style, and was a sleeper muscle car in a true beast mode. It still looked different from her Ford cousins, but her heart and soul was still Ford born and Ford bred. A devastatingly powerful 429 Cobra jet, a monstrous 429 Ram Air V8 pumping out 370 plus horsepower and 450 foot-pounds of torque at 3,400 RPM. Utilizing a Hurst 4-speed shifter and being fed fuel by a monster Rochester 700 CFM carburetor. This big Merc produced a 0 to 60 in 6-second time and a 14.5 second time in the quarter mile, laying in stride with the most powerful muscle cars of the era. But this Mercury was considered a sleeper car. If you pulled up to it at a red light, you better know what you're pulling up against. If you didn't, you may get your feelings hurt, and this is why this car is number 10 on my list. Now, coming in at number 9, 1969 was an iconic year for the muscle car, and the 1969 AMC AMX was no exception. Arguably AMC's most iconic muscle car, the AMX was a race rare 2-seater coupe offered in quite a few standout colors, offering a super stock setup by Hurst, recognized by the Society of Automotive Engineers as the best engineered car of that year. A true muscle car, the AMX was powered by a 390 cubic inch V8 and a twin grip 3.54 to 1 rear axle with a 4-speed manual or shaft shift command auto tranny. Luxury options were AC radio, power steering, tilt wheel, and deluxe interior. These were all optional features. The 69 AMC AMX SS Superstock had 395 horsepower and could hit 0 to 60 in 6.6 seconds and could hit the quarter mile in 14.6 seconds, making AMC's AMX one of the baddest muscle cars of its time. Now, coming in at number 8 is also a 1969 vehicle, which was a great year for the muscle car, like I said, with many iconic cars from this year, and one of Mopar's greatest was the Dodge Coronet Super Bee. The 69 Super Bee offered 3 different engine options: the standard 383 cubic inch V8, the affordable 440 6-pack, and the iconic 426 Hemi. The 426 Hemi tipping the scales in power to the rear wheel, producing 425 horsepower and 490 foot-pounds of torque. This executive body 2-door hardtop coupe was in its purest form, with a manual 4-speed transmission producing a head-snapping power with a 4.9 second 0 to 60 time and a 13.5 second quarter mile at 103 mile per hour, thus making this Mopar monster one of Dodge's iconic muscle cars, deserving of this 8th spot on my list. Coming in at number 7, and 1969 birthed another iconic muscle car, the bane of Wile E. Coyote. Yes, it is a 1969 Roadrunner 6-pack 440. a Mopar Monster, Motor Trend's Car of the Year in 1969. The six-pack option, a true upgrade to replace the 383 with a 440 Magnum six-pack, aka the A12 package. The six-pack referred to the beastly 440 Magnums, 3 two-barrel carburetors producing 390 horsepower and 490 foot-pounds of neck-wrenching torque. The 69 Roadrunner six-pack had a Dana 60 rear end, 4-speed manual or 3-speed auto tranny, heavy-duty suspension with a drag setup stance and a very aggressive stance, and a black fiberglass hood with functional hood scoops. 3 Holley 2-barrels set atop an Edelbrock intake manifold, making this one of Chrysler's crowning achievements in the muscle car era, with drag times of 0 to 60 in 6 seconds and hit the quarter mile in 13 seconds at 111 miles per hour. Some of the best quarter mile times during the muscle car era, and one of the most sought after cars for enthusiasts today. The 1969 Roadrunner 446 pack is 7 on my list of all-time great muscle cars. Now, number 6 is, in 1964, Pontiac's engineers, possibly suffering a caffeinating fit of rage, offered an amped-up option to its Tempest Le Mans. This optional package birthed the muscle car era and had the iconic, or soon-to-be iconic, name of GTO. The 1964 optional GTO package, the high-performance 389 V8 with dual exhaust, special GTO nameplates, simulated engine-tuned dash panels, inserts, and duck hood scoops. Also had a heavy-duty 3-speed or close ratio 4-speed manual transmission. The tri-power engine package produced 348 horsepower and 428 foot-pounds of torque, going 0 to 60 in 6.6 seconds, and had a quarter mile time of 12.8 seconds at 112 miles per hour. And this was with the Bobcat package. The 1964 Pontiac GTO combined brute force with a natural balance and stability. Many cars never reached this level of perfection, though many tried. A true icon and arguably considered the GOAT of the muscle car era, and deserving of this number 6 spot on my list. Now, number 5 is the 1967 saw the production of an iconic muscle car, a car Memphis Reigns had named Eleanor. She had smooth, sexy lines and brute power under the hood, deserving of such an elegant name. Carroll Shelby's masterpiece, the Shelby Mustang GT500, became an iconic muscle car and the flagship of the Shelby Motors Corporation. The power plant for this Shelby Demon was the 428 cubic inch Police Interceptor V8, producing 355 horsepower and 420 foot-pounds of torque. She had a manual 4-speed transmission or a 3-speed automatic transmission. A Super Snake package had the 427 cubic inch engine in it, the same engine that was in the GT40 that won the Le Mans, that produced 600 horsepower and 170 mile per hour top speeds. But the true GT500 was the 428 package, which went 0 to 60 in 6.5 seconds and had a quarter mile time of 15 seconds at 95 miles per hour. A true icon of the muscle car era, the 1967 Shelby Mustang GT500 is well deserving of the 5th spot on my list. At number 4 is a reoccurring number that seems to be the favorite of the muscle cars as well as many humans, and that number is 69. The number 4 is not a sexual position, no, but a Chevy in beast mode, the Chevy Yenko SC Nova. This was the year Chevy changed the Chevy 2 name to just Nova, and with the SS and the Yenko stamp, featured Yenko's megalomaniacal 427 L72 big block V8, creating its legacy as a true muscle car. Don Yenko's fire-breathing monster produced 425 horsepower and 460 foot-pounds of torque at a neck-snapping rate. The time 0 to 60 was 5 seconds, and a jaw-dropping quarter mile was under 11 seconds, almost unheard of at that time in 1969. The Nova featured a Muncie M21 close-ratio 4-speed manual transmission, a 12-bolt rear axle with posi track and 410 gears. Stuart Warner dash gauges were available in the Yenko Beast, and this was a sought-after muscle car and a true kaiju of the muscle car era, and one of 1969's apex predators. Number 3 on my list is 1967 saw the apex of the Corvette C2 design, producing one of the most beautiful and most powerful cars of its time. The 1967 Chevy Corvette 427 Stingray, one of the most aggressive yet gorgeous cars of the muscle car era. The monstrosity of an engine, the C71 427, produced a whopping 435 horsepower and around 460 foot-pounds of torque. Paired with a 4-speed transmission, she could hit the 0 to 60 mark in 5 seconds and the quarter mile in 13.6 seconds. The 1967 featured a bubbled hood for the 427, new front-end fender lower designs, and bright wheel trim rings and center caps. This car was as elegant as she was beastly, the true beauty and the beast of the muscle car era, and deserving of my number 3 spot. Now, number 2 also was 1967, which was a banner year for Chevy. For 1967 saw Chevy produce the 1967 Camaro Z28, a hidden RPO code you had to know to order. This beast was credited and was built to compete in the SCCA Trans Am series, which had a 305 cubic inch max engine size limit. The engine in this Chevy monster was a 302 cubic inch V8 paired with a Muncie close ratio 4-speed manual transmission, producing an axle twisting 360 to 400 horsepower and 400 to 500 foot-pounds of torque. The Z28 had racing stripes, heavy-duty suspension, power front disc brakes, and 15-inch Corvette wheels. A fresh air intake system was helping to feed the monster of a motor. And this race-ready Camaro had a 0 to 60 time of 6.7 seconds and a quarter mile of 14 seconds. One of Chevy's most iconic and sought-after muscle cars, the 1967 Chevy Camaro Z28 was a true race muscle car built for a specific purpose, but was a hidden gem that if you knew to order, you could order. Now, number 1 on my list, and this is an arguable list, and these are not actually rated 10 to 1. They could vary back and forth, really. It's according to your preference. If you're a Mopar, Chevy, Ford, whatever. But my number 1 on my list today is arguably one of the most iconic muscle cars of all time, the 1970 Plymouth Hemi Cuda. It featured the serialistic demon of an engine, the 7-liter 426 Hemi big block V8 with 2 Carter 4-barrel carbs feeding this monster, and it was paired with a 3-speed automatic transmission or 4-speed manual, and this beast produced 425 horsepower and 490 foot-pounds of neck-breaking torque. The Hemi Cuda had features like a shaker hood, hood tie-down pins, an elastomeric front bumper, Dana 60 posi track rear end, split front grille, and it was producing an iconic look, a look of power, Hemi power, with a 0 to 60 time of 5.8 seconds and the quarter mile time of 14 seconds at 102 miles per hour. A true muscle car monster at the classic muscle car era. The golden age of the muscle cars saw many, many cars. And I do have some honorable mentions that I will mention now. The Shelby Cobra 427 with an astonishing 0 to 60 time of 3.4 seconds was a true icon. Also was a Pontiac Trans Am that was featured in movies and was a beast of its own. Dodge had the Challenger and Charger, which were also in shows and movies. And Buick had the GSX, Oldsmobile 442. The AMC Rebel was a muscle car. And we have to mention the 1969 GTO Judge, which was featured in the classic movie where Matthew McConaughey's famous first line was, "All right, all right, all right." And also, we could not forget the Ford Mustang Boss 429. These were all muscle cars of the muscle car era, the golden age where power was king and all sorts of iconic cars ruled the scene. Now, I'm Big Duke 6. Thank you for listening. And please, subscribe, hit that noti bell, hit the like button, leave a comment. All these things help me, and I would appreciate it greatly. And I am very proud to bring you this top 10, and there will be more. I'm Big Duke 6 from CoolKegs Productions. Until next time.